Welcome, curious souls, to the Macabre Emporium, your sanctuary for the unusual, the mysterious, and the appalling.
Step through our cryptic doorway into a world where secrets whisper and enigmas come to life.
I'm David.
And I'm Sarah.
Together, we're your custodians of the macabre, guiding you through tales that defy the ordinary.
Discover the untold stories, from lesser-known cases of true crime to the bizarre events that captivate us.
Join us on a journey to the shadows where the mainstream fades and the extraordinary beckons.
So whether you seek the bizarre, the eerie, or the chillingly obscure,
you're in for a treat here at Macabre Emporium.
Welcome back to Macabre Emporium. This is episode 82.
And if this is your first time joining us, welcome.
Welcome.
So, not much to go on this week. We didn't do a whole lot. And
nope.
My dumbass spaced that I was supposed to do it on this day this week because it's a Sarah-sode this week.
Yep.
So we won't have that this week.
Yes, because technically last week was your week, but we did it together.
Right. But that type of together episode that we did, which I was named Between Two Skeletons, the Halloween edition or whatever. It's seemed a lot of people like that. So we might have to do more of those around holiday times.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you have for us this week, Sarah?
I have my bread and butter.
Of course you do.
True crime. What you got?
Nothing, because it's not my episode this week. And I forgot to do my on this day because knowing it was your episode, I totally spaced doing it.
He's like, oh, it's your episode. Fuck it.
Cool. I can go play more games. I don't have to worry about an episode. Totally forgot about my part. That's supposed to be there every week. But anyhow.
Fail.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of my old age that they're coming up, at the end of this week is.
I know.
Maybe why.
You need to figure out what movie you would like to go see and where you would like to eat the din-din.
Yeah.
Get that figured out. We'll do it this weekend.
I don't think there is any movies out currently right now. The only one that I really wanted to go see was Terrifier 3. We already went and saw that.
We did.
I don't think there's anything coming up.
Well,
this
you can
this week.
always look. New movies come out on Thursdays, so.
I know.
You can look.
I know.
But yeah, we got shit to talk about. Hopefully you guys went out and voted and did your civic duty.
Yep.
But that's all we're going to say about that.
Yep, because we're not going to get into politics because on Twitch and here where you don't do that kind of thing.
Nope.
There's enough places around the internet for that kind of thing, so there's that.
And here is not one of them.
Exactly, or something. I don't know what I was trying to say. Maybe we just need to get going so I can stop fucking talking and just listen. Alrighty. So are you ready to get going?
Yeah.
All right, let's get started.
Deborah Green was born on February 28th, 1951. She was the second-born child to Bob and Joan Jones of Havana, Illinois. Could you imagine just having that name? What's your name? Joan Jones?
Right, I was thinking, was that an error and you just kept going with it?
Nope,
or nope.
Joan Jones. It would be like being Steven Stevens.
Yeah.
You couldn't come up with a name that wasn't your last name? Anyways, Deborah was very smart growing up. She taught herself to read and write by the age of 3.
Dang.
Yeah. She was an overachiever in both high schools that she went to. She went to 2 schools. She was a co-valedictorian at one and a National Merit Scholar at the other.
How does that work? How do you go to 2 different high schools?
I don't know, but she did. Those that were around her said that she was pretty much born to be successful. She attended the University of Illinois starting in the fall of 1969.
Only one college?
No. We'll get there.
Oh, only one college at a time, I should say?
She was studying to become a major in chemistry. She had originally wanted to go in for chemical engineering, but chose to go to medical school. She graduated in 1972 from the University of Illinois. And then she attended the University of Kansas School of Medicine from 1972 to 1975. And then she graduated there. Her line of study led her to choose, emergency medicine. She did a residency at the Truman Medical Center in the emergency room after her graduation there. During her undergrad and med school career, she was dating an engineer named Dwayne Green. They married while she was still studying at the University of Kansas. They resided in Independence, Missouri, because that's where Deborah's residency was at the time. They separated and divorced by 1978. Deborah said it was because of just incompatibility. They didn't have anything in common. So I guess that was that. During their separation, she had started to date another man named Michael Farrer. But even with that, Dwayne and Deborah remained friendly.
Well, that's good. They can still do that.
Now, Deborah and Michael met while he was in his last year of studying internal medicine. He loved how smart Deborah was. One thing he didn't love was her explosive temper and the fact that after she had these explosions, like no remorse. Deborah, on the other hand, thought of Michael as stable and dependable. Which is kind of like, I don't know, the way that it read to me was that she just settled.
Okay.
They were married May 26th, 1979, and then they moved together to Ohio so Deborah could practice her craft in the emergency rooms at Jewish Hospital. She became unhappy quickly and switched what she was doing again to what Michael was doing, internal medicine. She actually wound up joining the exact same program that Michael was in, so they lived together, they worked together, they were just never apart.
Poked around in bodies together.
Pretty much. By the 1980s, the couple was living in Cincinnati. Deborah started having weird medical things happen with her. She started getting like super debilitating migraines and insomnia.
Like just out of nowhere?
Kind of, yeah. And she had to have surgery on her wrist that got infected, but I couldn't figure out from what.
Probably since she had surgery, probably the hospital, the OR or the equipment wasn't properly sterilized back in the 80s like that.
Could be. I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. That they wound up having their first child on January 20th, 1982. Their firstborn was a boy named Timothy Scott. Deborah did not want to be a stay-at-home mom, so when her obligatory 6 weeks of maternity leave was over, she was right back to work. No hesitation at all.
Just kicked her kid to the curb with the babysitter and then peeled out of there to the doctor's office, or the hospital, I should say.
December 27th, 1984, the Farrers welcomed their second child, this time a girl they named Kate. Once again, not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom, Deborah went right back to the university where she wound up finishing her fellowship in hematology and oncology. She wound up going into a private practice while Michael finished his last year of studies. And then after he graduated, the two entered an established medical facility near Kansas City, Missouri. A year passed, and once again, Deborah started her own practice. This practice thrived until she became pregnant for a third time. It was another girl born on December 13th, 1988, named Kelly Christine. With the new baby, there was more maternity leave, which caused a slight slowdown in her private practice. With both husband and wife being in the medical field, they made really good money.
Oh, I'm sure.
They sent all three of their kids to the Pembroke Hill School, which is a very prestigious private school in Kansas City. Deborah was seemingly a really good mom. She gave them space to become who they wanted to be. She encouraged their choice in, extracurricular activities. However, this didn't stop Deborah from wanting to go back to her career in the medical field. But this is not the plan that was going to pan out for her. Due to her last child and maternity leave, her practice took a major backseat, and she gave it up to be what she never wanted to be.
A stay-at-home mom.
Which was a stay-at-home mom. Her pain had also been on the rise, so I'm sure that kind of played a part in her deciding not to go back to work. Because I know when I'm hurting, I don't want to be at work.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything.
No. So, that would be understandable if that was part of the reason.
There's been times that you've done that at work, and I've had to drop what I'm doing at work to come get you because, you can't drive yourself.
Yeah. But she didn't really quit the medical field per se. She started doing Medicaid processing as well as medical peer reviews from home.
And homicide lobotomies on the weekend.
God. Those that she did have to work with in some form, be it in-person meetings, phone calls, some of her own patients, they said that she was very, very cold in terms of how she handled them.
Probably because she wasn't doing what she wanted to do, because she had to give up her dreams of being a doctor to be a stay-at-home mom, which she didn't want to do in the first place.
Could be. They also said that her behavior became very odd and very out of the blue. She started obsessing over her husband, like a little crazy like. Michael let it be known that Deborah was taking narcotics and or sedatives to help the pain that she had been having. So it was either one or the other or both at the same time.
Possibly that's what's causing her sudden obsession-ish. Maybe.
It could be. I don't know how she'd be obsessing.
Or it was meth.
Maybe. So Michael told author Anne Rule, you probably don't know who that is. She's probably one of the biggest names out there in true crime writing. The store that we like so much in Lansing, her books are all over the place there. Anyways, he had told her that he confronted Deborah on numerous occasions over things like her attitude, how she handled herself, her handwriting was deteriorating, and her speech patterns were just all over the place. And all of it was due to the drugs that she was using, clearly.
Right.
Each time he confronted her, she would apologize and say she'd stop taking them. Their kids were growing like weeds and had hobbies that required a lot of Deborah's time. Kate was a ballerina, and she had made it into the State Ballet of Missouri when she was 10. I wanted to be a ballerina.
Seriously?
Yeah. My mom signed me up for ballet class, bought my tutu, the leotard, the shoes, everything. My first time there, I was bawling because I was so nervous and shy. So never went back. But yeah, I wanted to be a ballerina when I was a kid. Anyways, Timothy was a sports kid. He participated in ice hockey and soccer. Deborah was being your typical soccer mom, making sure her kids got to, recitals and practices and games on time, while Michael kept himself busy working at the hospital. Some said Deborah wasn't the kindest to her kids at times and had been heard putting them down or just pushing them too hard. Not physically, but...
Right. I understand what you mean. That probably because she's feeling she maybe failed at life, having to give up her dreams, so she doesn't want them to do the same.
Maybe.
So she's being overly pushed upon it because she doesn't see how much more harm it's actually doing than good.
Yeah. Well, especially if she's taking drugs, she wouldn't really notice that.
Yep.
Now, going back to what I said about Deborah calling Michael stable and dependable. Michael expressed that he was well aware that their marriage was not at all sunshine and roses. He said they never verbally expressed love towards each other. Not in their dating phase, not in their engagement, not when they were married. Michael, having had a medical background, stated that Deborah seemed to severely lack coping skills. If she was mad and flew off the handle, she'd go into blackout rage. She'd throw things, purposely hurt herself, break whatever she could. She didn't care where she blew up. She'd do it at home.
Right.
She'd do it out in public. She just didn't care. When she was mad, she was big mad, and everybody around her knew it. In the early 90s, Michael started working more, literally taking extra hours just to be away from her. If he had been home, they were arguing constantly. When they did fight, Deborah would hurl insults about Michael at their kids. Most notably at Timothy because he was the oldest. She put those kids in a spot that they never should have been in.
Yeah.
Like she was trying to play the victim and make the dad look bad to the kids. Unfortunately, this actually made the kids afraid of Michael, so much so that, like, him and Timothy, as a little boy, fought because he was just trying to protect his mom.
Yeah.
In January of 1994, Michael had had enough and asked Deborah for a divorce. This did nothing more than piss her off, to which she went about throwing things and having an explosive tantrum. So Michael moved out, but they kept in contact for the sake of the kids. Now that they weren't living together, they thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to try reconciling. 4 months after they had separated, they put a bid in on a massive 6-bedroom house. 6 bedrooms. However, Michael wound up backing out of that bid after he thought about it and still had the same concerns about Deborah. Probably smart.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get over the red flags because they popped all time. Red, red, red. Not long after this 6-bedroom house was off the table, their home in Missouri had caught on fire. Thankfully, none of the family was inside when it happened. It had been caused by an electrical short they found in a power cord.
Okay.
So, with that, the family home was gone. Insurance paid out, and as a family, they decided moving away from that home was a good idea while it was undergoing renovation.
Well, yeah, duh. Because where else it going to go if it was, like, heavily damaged by smoke and fire and water? But...
Right. They moved into the apartment that Michael had been living in during their separation. And this living arrangement was only temporary until their home was fixed and they could move back into that. Now that they were living together again, they were able to really try and reconcile. That meant Michael ignoring all of the red flags that were waving everywhere. Michael decided he would lessen his hours at work, while Deborah chose to try and be a better housewife, because that was one of the things that he tended to gripe about a lot, was the fact that she wasn't a very tidy person. So she tried to do more cleaning than she did in the last house, and this seemingly worked for both of them. Until the end of 1994, when everything went right back to how it was before. The family had a vacation to Peru planned for 1995, and Michael didn't want to cause any strife, so he waited until they came back from vacation to tell her again that he wanted a divorce.
Yeah.
In July 1995, Michael asked for that divorce again, and Deborah did what she does. She threw a tantrum and then started shit-talking him to their kids, saying that their dad was leaving them. So Michael decided this time to not move out. How awkward would that be, though?
Right.
Michael...
Because I don't think I've ever known anybody to separate / get divorced or whatever. Then, hey, we're just going to continue living together.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Michael was very concerned about Deborah. He noted that she was not a drinker, but was drinking massive quantities of alcohol. She was blacking out often, not taking care of the kids. He had been called at work once by his kids to come home because they came home, I'm assuming, from school, and found that their mom wasn't responding.
Yeah.
So instead of 911, they called Dad.
Well, I mean, they live with their parents or doctors, and they're not going to think of that kind of thing, really.
Right. But this time he wised up and wound up moving out in the fall of that year because he had concerns for his own safety. October 24th, 1995, Michael woke up to a phone call from a neighbor near their family home. He was screaming on the other end of the phone that Michael's house was on fire. So Michael threw his shit on, got in the car, drove over to their house. Around 12:20 a.m., 911 was called from inside the house, and the dispatcher that answered it was trying to get the person that called to speak, and nobody said anything. They just hung up. A random police officer that happened to be patrolling the neighborhood areas saw the smoke and made their way over. So he made another call. Fire trucks were en route around 12:27, and they classified this fire as a 2-alarm. What does that mean?
It basically has to do with the amount of resources that are used for it. Like, obviously, first time fire goes out, it's first alarm, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing, hey, we need more people, this isn't going out, for example. Like, every department's variation of an alarm system is different, but the basics of it is we need more manpower, we need more trucks to put this fire out, raise the alarm level. It was raising the alarm level, basically.
Okay.
So
it was bad enough that they needed
more
extra.
So, like, for example, where we were, there's 7 stations. Like, there's a house fire. Station A, B, and C, responds automatically. Okay, we need more. Go to alarm 2. Then this means, or station D needs coming in now because it's alarm 2 now. It all varies on the situation.
Okay.
So what that is.
So that would mean that it wasn't just like a little fire.
No.
So it's bigger, starting to kind of overtake things.
Right. It's like the first alarm crews aren't being able to contain it, or they've become completely exhausted with that. We need more people to rotate out because this is going to be an extended event.
Okay.
Kind of deal.
I wasn't sure what that was. Like, I've heard of a 3-alarm, and that's like the whole building's at risk of collapsing. It's been on fire for,
Yeah, and like 3 alarms just commonplace because of old jokes. Fire, Chief Tony's making his famous 3-alarm chili or some stupid shit. Like, that's why that's most commonplace in people's head for a 3-alarm.
Okay. That makes sense, though. Thanks for clearing that up for me.
You're welcome.
The firefighters that first showed up stated that Deborah and 10-year-old Kate were in their pajamas outside of the family house, and they were safe. 13-year-old Timothy and 6-year-old Kelly were still inside their burning home. It was reported that Deborah stood there by her daughter, just stoic. Calm, completely unbothered. Firefighters tried to search inside, but the flames were too much and had completely overtaken the house, rendering it unsafe to be in.
Right.
The fire spread super quick because of high winds outside. However, with how quickly it initially spread inside the home, they were suspicious and they called in arson investigators. Once the fire was contained enough, their home was a 100% loss, including the life inside.
Right.
Timothy and Kelly's bodies weren't able to be reached until the next morning. Timothy was found near the kitchen on the floor, and investigators had initially believed that he had died trying to escape. But upon further investigation, they found that he had actually died in his room upstairs and then fell through his floor.
Through the ceiling.
Right.
To the kitchen.
Because, it had burned enough to allow his body to do that. Kelly's body was found in her bed, and she had died from smoke inhalation. Now, Deborah, Michael, and Kate were all questioned about what happened. This is Deborah's side of the story. Basically, she said that she had 1 or 2 drinks, told her kids not to stay up too late, and then she went to bed herself before she was woken up by the smoke alarm. She said she left the house via the deck that was attached to her bedroom, and that she heard Timothy using the house's intercom system asking what to do. Do you remember when houses had intercom systems?
I don't recall anybody having an intercom system. I knew that they were a thing.
We didn't have any either, but I remember people having them.
It's like, that was the rich people thing. Come on now.
Her response to Timothy was to stay in the house until the firefighters got there.
Okay.
Yeah. When she returned to her yard, she saw Kate climbing out and then jumping from her 2nd-story window onto the garage, and then from the garage to the grass right in front of her. When Deborah was told her 2 other children had died, she was sad, but only for a minute, and then went into rampage mode.
Which we've seen this enough here to tell us she's the one that started the fire.
Is she?
Come on. So, like, other people that we covered that has the same type of response that killed their fucking kids on here, like Ronald Clark O'Brien, when, at the hospital, he was screaming and wailing, and when the doctors became so concerned that he may have been poisoned too, he was just like, nope, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Or the little remorse he showed at his son's funeral and was talking about taking all these trips and shit. Come
Fair. But she started yelling at the detectives and the firefighters, blaming them for not responding quick enough or doing enough to save her kids. Yet this is the bitch that told her son on the intercom to stay in the house until the firefighters got there while
Right.
she's hightailing it out the fucking back door.
Yeah.
So, you're probably right.
But with shred of doubt, which I don't think I'm fucking wrong on this, is fight or flight mode everybody has this. Maybe hers kicked in or whatever. After that, like, she freaked out because the house was on fire. But I highly doubt that's the fucking case.
She was then released from questioning. And after this, the investigators made note that she was not emotional at all. That she was talking about it very excitedly. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Like, she couldn't wait to tell them what happened. She didn't refer to her kids by name either. She only referred to them by their ages to them. Which,
yeah, because that's not fucking weird at
a
all.
little weird. Okay, so this is Michael's side of the story. He was interviewed at 6:20 a.m., where they informed him that Timothy and Kelly's bodies had been found, and they were gone. Michael went over the tumultuous relationship with Deborah and explained why he wasn't living in the house anymore, kind of just to prove to them, like, I wasn't there.
Right.
I wasn't at the house.
Wasn't he also at work at the time, too?
No.
Okay, for some reason I thought you said he was there. I was like, he's got a fucking alibi of hospital staff that shows that, yeah, he was working. But go ahead.
He started talking about why he left, like I said, for his own personal safety.
Mm-hmm.
He stated that after they came back from their trip to Peru, that he had come down with, like, severe diarrhea to the point that it landed him in the hospital.
Right.
Because he was dehydrated.
Yeah.
He got better. He went back home. The night he got back home, Deborah cooked and served him food. And it was immediate diarrhea again. This time, right? This time he went septic as the stomach acid leaked into his digestive tissues. So, another trip to the hospital. Doctors were still not able to tell him what the fuck was wrong. They basically summed it up to traveler's diarrhea from the rich foods and drinks he might have had in Peru.
But you'd think if that was the case with the rich foods and whatnot, that would have happened in Peru. But this is happening back in the United States.
Right. Yeah. Michael went back home and recovered again. And one day when Deborah was passed out drunk, he got suspicious or snoopy, decided he was going to look around. He found a packet of castor bean seeds, empty vials of potassium chloride, and an anonymous letter stating that he should not divorce her. Anonymous.
Mm-hmm. Anonymous.
In her purse. Anonymous.
In her handwriting, too, I'm guessing?
I don't know. But he did say that her handwriting was deteriorating.
True.
So if it was that bad, he might not have realized, if it was her that wrote it, which I'm pretty sure it was, he might not have realized, like, that's my wife's handwriting.
Right.
Knowing Deborah had no green thumb whatsoever, he asked her when she woke up why she had the seeds. She said that she was going to use them to self-cancel. That was all he needed to get the police involved and to get her committed to a psychiatric hospital. She was formally diagnosed with major bipolar depression and suicidal impulses. She was put on Klonopin, which is a fucking doozy, Prozac, and Tranks. So I'm wondering if it wasn't a tranquilizer of some sort.
You know, that's the case with that being part of the word.
Right.
She's going to be real fucking chill with everything she's got going on there.
While Deborah was away, Michael did some detective work and realized that you could make ricin from castor beans.
Yep.
So he knew.
Because we learned about that in the It Will Kill You episode.
So he knew at this point she was trying to poison him. He moved out as soon as she got home from the psychiatric hospital. Probably a good idea.
Yep.
After that interview, Michael filed for divorce again and custody of their now only living child. Deborah was allowed supervised visits with Kate from then on, but they could never be alone.
Right.
Now we get Kate's side of the story. Kate was also interviewed on October 26th, She said that night she had woke up, the house was already well on fire. She said there was smoke in her room and that she opened the door just enough to yell for her brother, and then she closed her door again. She is the one that made the 911 call and hung up. So it wasn't the neighbor like she had made people try to believe.
Right.
Because she had said that when she slipped out, she went to the neighbor's house and called 911.
Right. She could have thought she could get in trouble if she would have, like, said, oh, it's my guess. It's, as well as kids are afraid they're going to get in trouble for calling 911.
Well,
for the
no.
most part.
Deborah was the one that said she herself, Deborah, went to the neighbor's house after she left her house and called 911. She never called 911.
Right.
It was Kate inside the house.
Right. But the thing with children, if never mind, I misunderstood what you said about it was Kate that went to the neighbor's house.
Yeah, no, it was Deborah. But Kate stated that her mom yelled for her to jump into her arms directly from her window. Thankfully, she didn't. She went from her window to the garage and then jumped down.
Yeah, because I can already see that, like, jump into my arms. And it'd be like fucking Peanuts with Lucy in the fucking football kind of deal.
Yes.
Oh, I missed. Splat. Well, not really a splat, but.
Right. Thankfully, Kate was completely unhurt. Kate went on to say that her dad moved out even though her mom was trying to make it work. She said that she loved her mom and that her and her siblings had really good relationships with Deborah. She was asked if her mom drank a lot, and she said yes. She was also asked if she had ever seen matches in the house. She said no, but then on her own, she was kind of surprised, and she said that she was surprised that her older brother didn't make it out of the house because he had access to a window above the garage just like her.
Right.
So he could have gotten out. During the arson investigation, they did find an accelerant was used.
Oh my God, who would have thought? Because it has its own burn pattern compared to, like, it has its own burn pattern compared to something that naturally catches fire.
Yes. And that the flame did not come from a defect in the furnace or wiring within the house or anything like that at all.
Yep.
This was looking like straight up arson.
Well, yeah, no shit.
Both Michael and Deborah had to give samples of their hair and their clothing that they were wearing the night of the fire for testing.
Right.
Michael's came back clean, showing no evidence of being in the house, of accelerant or singeing of any kind. Not in his clothing, not in his hair.
Right.
Deborah's showed singeing. Not just a little bit, a lot of it. Even though she told detectives that she wasn't near any flames at all.
Yeah, the science behind arson investigation is really interesting. It's something I wanted to pursue when I was volunteering, but like it's generally like less than 5% of people that start the coursework for it actually finish and pass.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a whole lot behind it, but it's just things like the whole charring pattern, they can literally measure that until they give you an approximate amount of time of how long something was burning.
Damn.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like all the telltale signs from everything give clues and whatnot. Like accelerant burn patterns are different from natural combustion. The V patterns, the blacking around windows, that tells a story and everything. There's like everything behind. Oh, that got burnt, but there's a whole story still sitting within all that stuff.
So you have to have a real eye for detail. Anyways. The neighbor Deborah went to see told detectives that her hair was wet when she showed up over there. Wet hair. Out of a dead sleep. Wet hair.
Just happened because it might have caught on fire?
Michael had to have surgery in November of 95 because of an aneurysm that they believed was due to poisoning. Blood samples were taken before he went under the knife, and it was found that he did have ricin in his system. So she was poisoning him.
Yep.
Deborah was arrested on November 22nd after dropping Kate off at ballet practice. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder for Kate and Michael, and 1 count of aggravated arson. She was held at the Johnson County Adult Detention Center on a $3 million bond. Have fun paying that. April 13th, Deborah said she wanted a plea bargain. April 17th, she was given that plea bargain, and she pled no contest to 5 charges, 1 of arson, 2 counts of capital murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. She would plead this in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table and accepting a prison sentence of, at minimum, 40 years without the possibility of parole.
So the only reason why these motherfuckers do that is so they can't have the death penalty put on the table.
Yep. May 30th, 1996, Deborah was formally sentenced to 2 concurrent 40-year sentences in prison, minus the 91 days that she had served.
So either way, she's probably still not getting out serving 80 fucking years anyway.
She is still serving her time at the Topeka Correctional Facility. And her earliest release date could be November 21st, 2035. So 11 years from now. If she gets released, if she lives that long, she will be 84 years old. Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah, this crazy bitch. Crazy bitch. But that's my case.
Good one, because I got to talk about fire stuff.
I know. It's kind of why I chose it, because I knew you'd be able to put your expertise into it.
There's this multi-part episode thing that I listened to years and years and years ago about, I need to look into it because it's really an interesting true crime case that has to deal with a serial arsonist that ends up actually being a fire investigator.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Because of the device that he came up with is why he was able to get away with it for so long. Because, like I said, everything tells a story if you look at details close enough.
Huh.
But the device he was using would burn up completely inside of these fires. So it would almost look like an accident, and there wouldn't be any evidence to look at it.
Okay.
But, yeah.
That sounds like it's right up your alley and definitely something you should do.
If I could remember the guy's freaking name, I probably would. I'll have to maybe Google that once we get out of the shop here today.
Yeah, I think it's ready. Or I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
I think it's time. Shit, that's what I was trying to say.
So, since somebody's being so pushy,
I'm tired.
I think it's time we get out of the Emporium for today, Sarah. What do you think?
Yep, I agree.
So until next time,
remember to creep it real.
And stay spooky.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Join our Facebook group by searching Macabre Emporium. Like and subscribe on YouTube at Macabre Emporium Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Macabre Emporium Pod. Follow us on Twitter at Macabre Emporium. If you have any stories of the paranormal, your local true crime, or weird history that you would like us to look into and possibly do an episode on, email us at macabreemporiumpod@gmail.com. And remember to follow, rate, review, and share whenever and wherever you can to help us grow our podcast.